Well, good afternoon. It's Monday, March 10th, and essentially it's the last day of session for me. All our work is done. So this is going to be the final 2014 legislative session update. I'll mention a few things that you might find of interest, something to be looking at when the new pocket parts come out. Senate Bill 23, that's the Attorney General's Deceptive Trade Practices. You may want to take a look at that. The bankers pushed Senate Bill 143, which was kind of a trolling patent infringement bill. So if you work in that area, or your clients sometimes will get demand letters saying you need to pay a licensing fee. Take a peek at that. House Bill 1054, you may remember the Argus Leader did an expose, if you will, of the lack of enforcement ability on the part of the Division of Insurance. House Bill 1054 addresses that issue. You can take a look at that. For those in the bankruptcy area and domestic family law, take a look at 1127, which exempts monthly alimony payments, I think capped at about $1,000. Those are just, and then of course their usual, the Governor's Trust Task Force has had a bill or two in every session now for a long time, and you may want to take a peek at those. With regard to the bills that we killed, or set out to kill, 128 and 1251, which was a thinly disguised religious freedoms, freedom of speech bills that essentially hijacked our very important constitutional rights and then put a very mean-spirited spin on them. We killed those. Senate Bill, that was Senate Bill 128 and House Bill 1251. There were several gun bills, a number of gun bills, but we took a position against Senate Bill 133, and more importantly, House Bill 1066, which would have allowed people with the concealed weapon permit to bring their guns into the courtroom, and so we killed that. Senate Bill 148 would have set a new standard that approached beyond a reasonable doubt standard in anything impacting parental rights and so forth, including chin actions and so on and so forth. And then finally we killed 1083, which would have capped conservancy easements at 99 years, and of course those of us that, you that practice in that area of estate planning and tax, understand that under current federal regulations, in order to get the tax break, they have to be perpetual easements. On the category of the bills that we were trying to pass, Senate Bill 68, that's the Uniform Law on Electronic Recording for Real Property, that passed. Senate Bill 74, that was our Shared Parenting Bill, which passed. 1077, the Uniform Law on the Transfer on Death Deed Bill, we got that passed. House Bill 1125, which is, it's the repeal of very obsolete judicial remedies, if you look at Title 21, that passed. 1165 is the Uniform Law on Deployed Service Personnel, that passed. And the last bill, House Bill 1199, was a repeal of obsolete divorce statutes which had been replaced over decades. And so the bottom line is those were the bills that we tried to pass, those were the bills that we tried to kill, and I mentioned a few bills that you may find of interest. We batted 100% this session, which is good. I got to mention a couple other things. I had a law student contact me. They listened to some of the testimony on the bills, and that law student remarked how important our presence, the presence of our profession is in the legislative process, and that we really do make a difference. And I know that I've talked for a number of years now saying we need more lawyers in the legislature. We sent out an email about a week or so ago that we still had time for our members to consider taking out petitions and running for the legislature. We really do make a difference. Our presence up there is critical, particularly at the Senate level where there are no lawyers whatsoever. And we're going to lose a few members on the House side this year. You know, Joe Sixpack out there thinks that the legislature is run by lawyers. The truth of the matter is there was 8 lawyers out of 105. And I can remember when I first started lobbying about 30 years or so ago, almost every single member of the Judiciary Committee on both the Senate and the House were lawyers. And now, of course, we have none on the Senate Judiciary, and there's 5 on House Judiciary out of 13. And so we desperately need to address that issue, and if this year is too late, then please consider 2 years from now. The last thing I'm going to mention is this is a special day, very special day. Bob Miller, and I don't mean former Justice Bob Miller, Robert H. Miller. Robert H. Miller was appointed to the Judicial Qualifications Commission by Governor Walt Miller back in the 90s. And he was the first layperson to ever serve as chair of Judicial Qualifications. And during the 2006 election cycle, Chief Justice Gilbertson appointed him to a committee of lawyers and judges, but Bob Miller served along with another layperson on the board that handles complaints of judicial canon violations during the election cycle. And I can tell you that Chief Justice Gilbertson reappointed Bob Miller to serve for this current election cycle where virtually all our black robes are running for election. Now, Bob Miller is a friend of the bar. He currently serves on Judicial Qualifications as a lay appointee by the Chief Justice. So between qualifications back in the 90s, serving on the disciplinary board, serving on the election boards, and of course he ran the Municipal League and had a very strong and close working relationship with all our municipal lawyers. He's going to retire after 47 years of lobbying. This is his last session. And I'm pleased to announce that a few minutes ago, Governor Dugard proclaimed March 10th to be the Robert H. Miller Day. And it was with great delight that we got to observe that. So I want to say thank you, Bob Miller, for all you've done for our profession. He's retiring from lobbying. He still has about 2 years to go on our disciplinary board and is a very valuable member. So if you bump into Bob Miller, make sure you say thanks. You guys have a great spring, and I'll see you at the Bar Convention in June in Sioux Falls.